Nice
Hello,
to
Fanny.
see you. Congratulations.
Thanks very much. The congratulations, I'm assuming, is for the Gin
Yes.
Connoisseurs program. It was a wonderful experience. Javine had hosted this Connoisseurs program for hundreds of bartenders around the world, and I was lucky enough to be selected as one of the 15 finalists to fly to France and go through a 5-challenge competition that included written examinations and aroma tests. We got to make some gin. There was a speed round, a free pouring round. We had to throw a party for 300 people. It was amazing. And although I was close to getting there, I ended up getting 4th place, which isn't all that bad. But you know, when the prize is that close, then it's
considering the competition, and you were in France.
In France, in Cognac, yeah. For that.
Oh,
that was a lot of fun.
Had to go to Cognac and make gin. What do you know about making gin? Anything before
Well,
you went?
Yes, well, a fair bit. I mean, it's part of what we do as bartenders. I think it's professional bartenders should know as much about the products that they're using as possible, and that involves knowing how they're made, what they're made from, and also to be able to discern the differences between one from the other, so that when you're making drinks, whether they're replicating or creating new drinks, you're able to highlight or emphasize some of the flavor profiles that are inherent within that product.
See, who knew? See, you are a bartending scholar.
Well, I try to be. I do read every day,
and you can also
something booze related.
You can also shake it up. So let's start.
Absolutely. Well, the first thing that I wanted to do was to show the viewers a very simple white sangria. Now, there's many different white sangria recipes, red sangria recipes that you can have out there. This is super simple, something that you could do at home. And when you're having some friends over and the sun is shining, grab a little bottle of Spanish wine. It doesn't have to be expensive. This is maybe a $15, $16 bottle of Spanish wine. This one's called Volteo. It's a combination of Verdejo, Viognier, and Sauvignon Blanc.
But it has to be Spanish because sangria is Spanish.
I would think it's appropriate.
Well, not necessarily. You could use probably a BC wine, right?
You could. Okay. So for this, I'm using, the remainder of that bottle. There's about 2/3 of a bottle in there. And the measurements don't have to be absolutely exact when you're making a sangria. Make it to taste. So I put that in there. Now, as a flavoring agent, liqueur 43. Okay.
Right.
Typically, a sangria might have a little bit of Cointreau, it might have a little bit of brandy, it might have things like that going on, but you could basically use any sort of a flavoring agent to bring forth some things that are beyond the wine.
A liqueur, L-I-C-O-R, liqueur 43. Can you buy this in the liquor store?
You can buy this in private liquor stores. So some of those around town will have this on their shelves. I just brought in a couple of little bottles because we don't really need a lot today.
Well, we may.
And so I've put in a little bit of that. I've put in some white wine. The beauty about this white wine is that it's really quite bright acidically.
Okay.
And then we're going to add a little bit of soda water. We don't need a lot, a little splash more. And then I can give this a little stir. As you can see in there, Fanny, that I've put in there some oranges, some lemons, and some strawberries. I'm just giving that a little bit of a stir there. And I might even take a tiny little taste.
Look at you.
Oh, that's good.
You are skilled. A little sangria on the hand.
A little on the hand.
Now, what's the difference between white and red, essentially?
The color?
The color. Is that it?
Sorry to sound so cheeky, but you gave me room for some humor there.
It was a tough question. But I thought maybe you added a little more of this or that, but not really.
Not really. I mean, the beauty of a sangria is that you balance it to taste. You don't, like I said earlier, there's not really a firm set of rules or guidelines. Okay. You want to be able to enjoy it. You want your guests to be able to enjoy it. And that, for you, Fanny,
that is beautiful.
Is a little white sangria.
Well, I'll just start.
Sometimes.
You keep making drinks.
I certainly will. Sometimes what I like
to
do at home with this is I'll serve it with a little, like a little pick of some sort, because people tend to love eating that fruit that's been marinating or sitting in that drink for a little while.
And it's also for people who can't drink all that much.
Absolutely, because it is on the light side. It's not much stronger than a glass of wine. So the next one that I want to show for you is one that has a little Japanese influence. I'd been to Japan in January and had a wonderful trip, and I came back and was influenced by some of the things that I'd tasted over there. This one I'm calling it a Jasmine No. 2 because there is a classic jasmine cocktail that doesn't have any jasmine per se in it. So for this
Jasmine the what?
Jasmine the flower.
Jasmine the flower.
But the classic jasmine cocktail doesn't have any jasmine flower in it. This one does. So I'm calling it jasmine number 2. And I'm going to use about 1.5 ounces
Look at you.
of
Do that
gin.
again.
I'll do that when we make the next cocktail.
But that's a gin you said is grape-based?
It's a grape-based gin that has
Grape,
the essence
like grape
of
and wine.
grape and wine. And it also has the essence of vine flowers.
Of course it does.
So it's beautiful and elegant. Quite a modern profile gin.
Beautiful
We're going to use
bottle.
some sake, about 1 ounce of sake.
That's good sake. I like that sake. That's the Junmai, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. The komo sake no daki.
Komo sake no daki.
Komo daki no sake.
Arigato.
That is komo dake no sake. A little bit of jasmine green tea syrup. This is really easy to make. Make a really strong tea.
Right.
Measure it out. Half liquid, 2 parts sugar. So 1 part liquid, 2 parts sugar.
Okay, but you do that hot.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yep.
I mean,
Simmer
hot
it,
green
it'll
tea
dissolve.
and the sugar, then you put it all together on the burner and...
Yep. And once it's dissolved, then take it off and cool it, and then use it. I use a little more lemon than I do of the jasmine green tea because I want it to be a little bit on the tart side and not on the sweet side. And a little bit of ice in the glass.
And proper glass. What's that glass called?
This is called an old-fashioned glass.
Land.
An old-fashioned glass or maybe a rock glass.
Okay.
So I'm going to just give this a shake.
It's not polite to shake at the host.
No, that's right. So unfortunately, I have to turn my back to you for a second, but I don't want this
that's okay.
shaker to...
Well, if the lid flies off, I get it, right?
Absolutely.
I know what you're doing. You use your martini shaker for a lot more than martinis, I've noticed.
Yes.
Yes, which is a good thing. But your bar at home.
Well stocked.
Well stocked, I'm sure. But, you know, equipment-wise, the essentials of a good bar, so a shaker, obviously.
A shaker is very important.
A jigger.
A jigger. I think if you don't have a built-in strainer like the 3-piece cobbler shaker like this, the top actually acts as a strainer, then you'll need to have a strainer of some sort. Typically, they're called a Hawthorne strainer.
Beautiful.
There we go. Now, a little straw for this one. As the drink sits, the cucumber tends to come out a little bit and adds to the complexity of the drink.
It's gorgeous. I guess I better have another sip.
I think you should.
Can you finish the show? No, I'm just having a tiny sip, you know.
Okay, everyone. Fanny's going to take a little bit of break, and I'll continue on.
Fine. Oh, I really like that.
It's light. It's refreshing. It's not too boozy. You know, you saw I put in 1.5 ounces, but because of the other components and the vigorous shake.
And I love the cucumber touch.
It's light and it's fresh.
When you make a proper martini, proper gin martini, how do you do it?
Well, I like to have a 3-ounce gin martini.
Oh, of course. That's a
There's
proper
a lot
martini.
of people. There's a lot of people that like to have a 2-ounce gin martini. I like them on the wet side. Classically, the first martinis were half vermouth and half gin.
Right.
I like taking it a little bit drier than that. I like having 1/2 ounce to 3/4 of an ounce. Generally, 1/4 of an ounce per ounce of gin. So if I'm having a 3-ounce martini, I'll typically have 3/4 of an ounce of vermouth.
Okay.
If I'm having a 2-ounce martini, I'll typically have 1/2 ounce of vermouth. That's to my liking. But everybody has their own
Sure,
liking.
everybody says
and
dry.
when I make it, exactly.
Some people have no vermouth.
When I make a drink for somebody, I'm making it to their liking, not necessarily to mine.
Well, that's good to know, because I've been at that bar of yours, and you make a fine drink.
Thank you.
And fine food, too.
I guess I should tell you what I'm
don't
doing
make
for this
the
last
food.
one, too.
Oh, yes.
So this last
we're
one.
off the track, per usual.
Similar to the pronunciation of Hawaii. This one's called kakui.
Kakui.
Kakui means cool
Kakui.
in Japanese.
Ooh.
And having been there last January, I'd come across some amazing plum wines. And when I came back, I said, you know, I want to use some plum wine in a cocktail. So this one uses gin again. It's 1.5 ounces of the Divine Floraison.
A little silly.
Have
you been drinking?
I was born silly, Fanny.
Okay, good.
We're going to do 3/4 of an ounce of the Ume plum wine. I have a little bit of cinnamon syrup. This is also really easy to make. I take some cinnamon sticks, a liter of water, and I boil those down until it reduces to 500 mils.
Okay.
Then I'll take a liter of sugar.
A liter.
After
Good.
removing the sticks.
No calories in that.
And add the sugar to the liquid, simmer to dissolve, done. That's it. It's super simple.
And does it last a long time? Do you keep it in
Lasts a long
the
time
fridge?
because
You
it's
keep it
because
where?
it's 2 parts sugar and 1 part liquid, then it'll last for months in the refrigerator without anything going wrong with it.
So cinnamon syrup, ume, plum wine, and plum wine celebratory. That's
absolutely,
that's good.
A little bit of lemon and the gin.
And the gin. And the gin sounds very French.
It's a really easy combination of ingredients, but the complexity is in the balance between all of those.
Okay, and there you go. Now, is there... It's music to my ears at 6 o'clock. 6 p.m. cocktail hour. You go, yes, that's music.
You wait all the way till 6? I usually start at 4.
I do, or I'd have to check into AA or something. I have my rules.
Well, as long as we're high functioning, Fanny.
Exactly.
Now, a little taste of this one.
Ooh. And that's, pronounce that again? The
Kakui.
Kakui, the kakui. Would you like a kakui cocktail or just a kakui?
Now, let's throw a cinnamon stick in there for fun.
Beautiful. Whoops.
And a little...
I'll pick this up. Don't you worry, Mr. Don't worry, Mr. Bartender. We won't use that. We're
no, we have a
very
fresh one in the glass
tidy
for you.
behind the bar.
So this is called
Lovely.
Kakui.
Oh. You can taste the cinnamon, but subtle.
Subtle.
Very subtle.
That's one of the things that I think most people like about it. Even the people that don't up front like cinnamon, they can enjoy this drink because it's such a subtle accent. It's not one of it's not at the forefront of the flavor profile, but it's on the backside just to give a little hint that it's there.
When you make drinks in batches, say you're having a big bash, what do you do? Like you make them in a pitcher, but say you're having 100 people. Right. Like at your wedding, 100 plus.
Part of the component of a drink is water. And I'm gaining water through the dilution by shaking it or by stirring it. If I'm making a large batch, I will calculate out what that dilution rate is. Typically, one drink, when you shake it, will have approximately 1 ounce of water volume that's added to it. So if I'm making a large batch, I will take that one recipe, I will add into that recipe ingredient list 1 ounce, well, between 3/4 to 1 ounce of water. I'll usually start at 3/4. If I find the dilution's not enough, then I'll add another little splash of water. And once that is made in the large batch, you simply chill it, and it's ready to serve.
And put it in a little brown jug, and people can help themselves.
Absolutely.
Why not? No, but it's a great idea when you have a big party, so the bartender gets to have some fun.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, you have fun as the bartender, as the drink fixer.
As the drink fixer.
There. From the, what does that say?
Tales of the Cocktail. It was a festival that came through town. Its home base is in New Orleans, but Vancouver was the site for a road trip for Tales of the Cocktail. It was the first time they'd went on the road, and I was invited to be one of the presenters when they came here in March, and they gave me this little shirt that says, you know, David Wolowidnyk, drink fixer on it, which is kind of a moniker that I go by.
And doing what you do for a living, do you have a favorite drink? A drink of preference?
It depends on the time of year. Throughout the colder months, a Manhattan, most certainly. Throughout the summer months, typically anything gin-based.
Okay, well, we've taken care of that today. These cocktail recipes for today's show will be at studio4.ca, of course, and you will have the batch recipe and the individual recipe, right?
Absolutely.
Perfect. David Wolowidnyk.